Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Flagrant Talk Sports Podcast. And today, I'm joined by the GOAT co-host. You all know him, Mr. Moses Firmino.
How's it going, everybody? I'm giddy. I'm sorry. I'm smiling.
I know. This is hands down the most excited I've been to record a video. This is the anniversary of our biggest video on this channel. It was a lot easier to make last year because NCAA gifted everyone a website. We had to manually go in, add all these teams, add all these logos, add all these banners. So if you like the video, I don't normally do this, but please leave a like, subscribe. Mo and I put a ton of time into making this video look good, having the stats to back it up. And as you can see, we are predicting every single conference winner ahead of March Madness. It's finally here, and we're starting with the ASUN, which is getting down today in their first round games. Mo, what do you got to say to get us started?
Man, it's surreal, honestly, that a year has passed and we are back on our best video on our channel. One of our favorite videos. And as they said, normally don't do this, but they hoed us this time around.
Yeah.
They did us. So
Yes.
a lot of extra effort. We love doing it for y'all. We love bringing these videos to you all. But please, it means a lot to us. Like, subscribe, share, comment, all the things, the usual. Let us know your thoughts. Let us know who you think is going to win the conference. If we pick differently, no hate to your team. This is just our opinions. And yeah, man, I'm excited to get into it. We didn't shoot 100% last time. This might be the year, but
nope.
We'll see. We'll see.
Yep. We'll see. Always try and do better, but it's March Madness time, man. And I will add that to end the little bit of waffling that we're doing to start the video, but we aren't going to pick the 1 seed every time. If that were the case, there'd be no point in recording this video in the first place. Mo and I are making our predictions. So if you're a fan of a team and I don't pick them or Mo doesn't pick them and you're like, hey, our team's the 1 seed and we beat that team in the regular season or whatever it is, that's totally fair. Totally fair. We're just making our picks. If you are a fan, especially of these smaller teams or mid-major teams, give us an analysis. People would appreciate me specifically. Hey, here's a breakdown on Vermont or Bryant or whatever school that it is. I and other people that tune into the video would totally appreciate it.
Yeah.
But that's all the waffling. That's all the talking. Let's make our first pick in the ASUN, the first conference to get underway. I picked Lipscomb University to win the conference. Mo, are you with me?
Let's make that an order for 2. I also have Lipscomb winning the conference as well.
Yeah, in terms of resume, they are 87th in the net. They have a very, very sound defense. This is a team that I think if they win the ASUN, there's a good chance they go into the bracket as like a 13 seed. 24th in the country in 2-point percentage, shoot the ball efficiently, play defense. And Jacob, I'm going to butcher his name, but I'm going to try my hardest.
It's the guy I talked about last time. Yep.
Who Moses talked about last time, putting up 20 points, 8 rebounds. This is still a competitive conference, even though Lipscomb is the pick, and I think most people would agree. North Alabama, right there in the running at 14-4 in conference play as well. Florida Gulf Coast close behind at 13-5.
100%. Gotta give credit to those other teams in this conference. Florida Gulf Coast, going on that epic run. Feels like just a couple of years ago, but that was actually a while ago now in 2025, which is crazy. But as you said, Lipscomb, just love them. They're in the plus side on both sides of the ball, offensively and defensively in the nation. As you said, they shoot the ball really well as well. And they're just a veteran team. Jacob, as you talked about, a senior forward, and they have 3 senior guards following him in scoring.
Love that.
Love the veteran group here, and got him winning the ASUN.
Yeah, I like this pick. I think Lipscomb could be a fun team if they get the right team. I'm curious to see where they fall. I think 12 to 14 seed is definitely
Yep.
where I projected. 12 is the kinder. 14 would be kind of surprise me, but I think they're
I mean,
a quality team.
100%, especially considering their net ranking compared to the rest of their
Yeah.
conference. They are the kind of clear cut, like a
Mhm.
legit team in this conference. Again, no hate to any of these other teams. We'll see
Nope.
what happens, but
Yep.
really liking a potential upset pick here. I agree, Zay.
Yeah, I like it, and we're agreeing to start this, which means, and if you can't tell, we're going to go in alphabetical order by conference, making our picks here. Starting with the American East, Mo, do you want to get us started with your pick?
Yeah, I'll jump into my pick, and it is the leading team at the moment in the conference in the Bryant Bulldogs. Another similar to Lipscomb, very solid offensive team. They average about 80 points a game, which puts them at 40th in the nation. They got another team here with 4 players averaging double-digit
Mhm.
scoring as well. Really rebounding efficiently as well, top 10 in the country at 40 rebounds a game. Lots of size on this Bryant team. That was
Mhm.
my big kicker. Both of their starting guards are 6'6". They are third in the nation in blocks per game at 5.9. We'll call it 6. And another veteran group here that has depth.
Yeah.
Again, kind of a boring top of the conference pick here, but just who I'm feeling.
Yeah. Great pick. It was between them, and this is our first disagreement, which is always fun to see get one early. I think it's between Bryant and the team that I picked here, Vermont. The Catamounts have kind of become a staple in March
Yeah.
Madness recently. This is their third straight tourney season. If they make it under John Becker, who has done a great job of revitalizing this program. I
Mm-hmm.
believe they were a 13 seed last year. They might not be as good as that this year, but they're still a very quality program, winners of 7 in a row now. And the reason I picked them, they're coming off of a 59 to 55 win over your Bryant Bulldogs. And so I'm feeling like hopefully this is the conference title game. I would love Bryant versus Vermont to make it into March Madness. The
Mm-hmm.
weakness is obvious. They really struggle to score. Offensively, if it's they can go cold and they can go really cold. And it can be really hard to stay in the game against any team when you're not making your shots. That includes 2s and 3s. But they make up with their stifling defense. They're going to blitz you.
Mm-hmm.
They do really solid on the perimeter in terms of guarding you. And that is why I've got Vermont. But I love our first disagreement. I really think it's between these two. If I were to include another team, I'd probably throw Maine, but I would be pretty shocked if anyone other than Vermont or Bryant walks away with this conference.
I fully agree with that. Also, little side note, these two teams are picked split the season series, so we'll see who, if
Mhm.
they can face off, would get that deciding game.
Love it.
Agree with the main pick there. Me as a Massachusetts fellow
Mhm.
myself was trying to visualize a way UMass Lowell could maybe win this tournament,
Mhm.
which
Of course.
would be pretty sweet. But again,
Yeah.
as you said, think it's between these two teams, Vermont's defense versus Bryant's offense. We'll see, man.
Yeah.
See.
We totally will. And now we're on to the excuse me, the American Athletic Conference, the AAC, with one that I feel like we're probably going to agree on. The
Yep.
Memphis Tigers.
Yep.
Boomer bust. We have talked about this team a lot. Speaking personally, they need to get out of this conference. It is doing them no good. You are not testing yourself at all. And it's very clear you are the best team, but they've got some very weird losses on this season. They are
Mm-hmm.
as boomer bust in this bracket as you could get. Like, they don't need to win this to get in. I think they're in regardless,
Yeah.
but they should. I would be pretty surprised if they don't. 46th in the net.
Mm-hmm.
Very talented roster. PJ Haggerty, if you haven't seen him play, one of the most entertaining offensive players in the country. Shoot 39% from deep, which is good enough for 6th in the country. So they shoot a lot of threes and they make a lot of threes. Penny Hardaway has got his guys doing well in that department. The only team that I see as a real threat is North Texas.
100%.
They're, I believe, the only other team that's top 100 in the net. So it's really between
in the net.
Nailed it, which is very impressive. Like,
Yeah,
that'll be a good one. North Texas has been a team that's made the tournament over the last couple years and has been in this mix, but it feels like a one big conference, assuming Memphis wins. UAB, I believe it's Yaxel, is amazing. I got to see him play last year in the tournament against San Diego State. Great rebounder, physical, can put up 20 on you. But
yeah,
I'm giving it to the Tigers. Mo, same page?
I am fully on the same page, literally with everything you said. North Texas, I surprisingly didn't know how good they were this season based off their stats and net rankings and that. UAB as well, having an amazing conference, sitting at 12-3, tied with North Texas behind Memphis.
Yeah.
But I just think the offense, the boom or bust ability, I'm willing to take the risk on the Tigers here. As you noted, I'm doubling down. PJ Haggerty, just unbelievable player, 6th in the nation, scoring as a sophomore. And if you've seen our channel, been around, you know what we think about them guards in March. So
Yep.
give me the Tigers
Absolutely.
as well. Yeah.
Absolutely. This is boom or bust. They will make or break your bracket. I believe I had this team going like Elite 8 last year. They lost in the first round. I expect the same thing this year. They're going to lose in the first round, or they're going to make it to the second weekend and cause some problems. So
100%.
That's what to expect with Memphis, but we're both picking them to win it, as they should.
We're in
be
it
pretty
together.
Disappointing if not. Yeah. On to a more competitive conference, the A10. Mo, who is your pick to win it? This is going to be a good one.
If you watched our most recent bracket video, both of us were very high on this team, and that hasn't changed. I'm sticking with VCU to come out of the A10s. Are you joining me on this one?
I am. I honestly, considering I had this team go on, I believe, an Elite 8 run in the bracket video, it would be pretty absurd if I instantly, like a couple days later, was like, nah, but I don't think they can win their conference, though. So
100%. But loving what the VCU boys have been doing this season. Defense. 7th ranked defense from an opponent's points per game perspective. Yep. They also really value the ball. They create turnovers and don't really turn the rock over, which is awesome. Another team, I know my notes have been similar, but clearly I have a type of team I'm looking for. 4 players averaging double digits, all seniors, veteran group again, and defense travels, man. I'm really liking this VCU team. It has gotten hot, as we've talked about, at the right time. No disrespect to Dayton or George Mason, who, George Mason was looked at as the team that was going to come out of this conference for a while there. Still could be very well 13-3 in the conference, but I'm going with VCU sitting at 29 in the net compared to Dayton, who is at 71. Give me the boys in yellow and black.
Yeah, I'm with you here. What I want to say is this, and I'll get back to VCU, but it's connected. I want, in a perfect world, VCU deserves an at-large bid if they don't win. George Mason deserves an at-large bid if they do not win. I do not want to see North Carolina, who continues to stay right there, who, for all intents and purposes, is probably going to get smacked around by Duke. Stop. I'll give one of these teams, and again, VCU 29th in the net. 29th in the net. They've been great this year. Now to tie it back in, coming off a smacking to George Mason, beat him 70-54, and that's really what has twisted my perspective on them. I think they deserve an at-large bid. George Mason does as well. So I will give that to this conference. I want it to be a 2-bid league. Yeah. We'll see, though. Knowing the committee, win this conference. win this.
Yep.
Like, that's all I can advise you to do.
Put it to rest. Yeah.
Yes, just put it to rest. Control your own fate so that you
Yep.
don't leave it to the committee to do so, which I guess is more life advice than anything. For Dayton, though, third in the conference, they were a team at the start of this year who there were high hopes. It looked like they were going to take this conference. They were going to go into the tournament as a top 5 seed, 4 seed, and be serious, like cause some serious problems. Season hasn't panned out that way. They're 20-9. It hasn't been terrible, but the expectations going into this year was that Dayton was going to be a problem. That hasn't been the case, but I won't count them out. I want to give them a little bit of bail. I don't think it's between only VCU and George Mason, but I would bet on one of the two. I want to give some credit there. Loyola Chicago as well at 10-6, St. Joseph's at 10-6 in conference play, and St. Louis. So you've got this pretty even thing, but like you said, we're both sitting here going with VCU.
I love it. This next conference, I'm sure, is probably a similar story, Zay, unless you have a surprise for me. But
no, I have a feeling we're in the same, talking about the ACC here. Got the Duke Blue Devils. Been the cream of the crop in a weak ACC this year. I can't remember the last time where there's only been 3 locks to make the tournament out of this conference.
Yeah.
Absurd. It's Duke, who will be a 1 seed, 2 seed at worst. Clemson, who we're both high on, and Louisville, who I like. But outside of that, you have Wake Forest, who shot themselves in the foot when they were really making progress. They could still make it, but need to do some extra work. You have North Carolina, who I've already made it clear is not deserving at all.
Absolutely not.
SMU doesn't have the resume. They don't have the resume, and they shot themselves in the foot with that loss to Wake Forest a couple weeks ago. And then Stanford, no. Every team below that doesn't deserve to get in. So uncharacteristic for this ACC, but I've got Duke. Mo, same here, or any surprise?
100% same here. Just a little look at the stats. 4th in opponent points per game and 9th in points per game for Duke. Just unbelievable on both sides of the ball. You know, pretty young, which is always a little bit scary, but as we've said, has that senior, veteran around to keep them kind of steady as things get tough, kind of navigate the waters, be that captain for them. Even though, their best player is a freshman, maybe player of the year.
Is he good?
But there's a reason he's going 1, folks. So I got the Blue Devils.
Yeah, I mean, their only loss in conference play is on the road at Clemson. That was an amazing game to tune into, but Clemson is great. I would say they're the second best team in the conference, so that loss doesn't scare me. I would love to see them meet in the title game so we could get that third matchup, especially with the ending of the game and Cooper Flagg slipping and kind of all the weird things that happened. But like you said, offensively, a juggernaut. This Duke team is very good. Plus 22 is the highest scoring margin in the country. So they're not just winning, they're dominating. Beat Auburn early in the year, which is enough to warrant a 1 seed probably on its own. It's been a hell of a year for the Blue Devils. I would be pretty surprised if they don't win the conference, but I'm not counting out Louisville and Clemson in kind of that tier 2 of teams that can win it.
Totally agree there.
And we're keeping it going with these big conferences. This is a conference that's going to have a ton of bids. The Big 12, where I'm going with the Houston Cougars to win. Mo, same boat?
I am joining you on that. I also have the number 1 ranked defense in the country, holding teams to an average of 58 points a game.
Brother.
Are you joking? Like that is silly. Obviously, going to be a 1 seed. At least should
Yeah.
be a 1 seed, at least 2. Third in the net. Just you can go on and on about this Houston team as we have, obviously could be Sampson's best roster that he's
Yeah.
had.
And he's had some damn good ones with some damn good
Yeah.
players. You think about Jarris Walker a couple years ago, Jamal Shed, and all he did with that program as a point guard. But
Yep.
Houston, this team is amazing. 58 points per game in the Big 12.
Yeah,
Like,
this isn't
you-
I'm not even gonna say it. I'll hold
Yeah.
off until we talk.
I don't
about
even
that.
want to throw it. Yeah,
But-
we'll get to them. But yeah, top 10 in offense and defensive efficiency. So when you're making your title picks, that right there is enough to warrant having them at least as a team that can make it Elite Eight, Final Four title game. That's really Houston's upside. Like you
Yep.
said, might just be Samson's most talented roster, dominant on the interior, bully ball. Started off the year a little weird and have totally course corrected. We'll see. I personally, with the way things are going with Tennessee and Florida and some of those other teams in the mix for that last 1 seed, I would have Houston as my final one.
Mhm.
But we'll see. At worst, similar to Duke, they're a 2 seed. So
100%.
they'll be somewhere there. To look at the Big 12 in a more broad scope, because this one has a lot of competitors.
Yeah.
Texas Tech, they can win this.
Yep.
They can absolutely win this. Arizona has been a little all over the place. They can win this. That is a good Wildcats team. Iowa State, 2-3 seed in the tournament. They can absolutely win this. BYU, they suffered a big loss and to one of their star players, and that kind of caps their ceiling pretty heavily. So I think for that reason, I don't think they can win this, but they're still a competent team. They're still a tournament team. So it's not over for them.
My note, if healthy, I was considering having my first kind of crazy pick for the conferences. I was going to go BYU, but yeah.
The way they've been playing, I couldn't fault you. Like, it's definitely a bold pick, but I wouldn't hate it. You have Kansas. You have TCU, who isn't going to win. I'm sorry. It's become an ongoing joke here on the channel with Kansas, where Mo and I just don't want to say anything. If you have nothing nice to say,
don't say it at all.
Zip it and throw it. But Baylor's a good team. VJ Edgecombe, that brother is a dog. He is incredible and super athletic. NBA take here. He might be the second best player in this class. I don't know. But I feel like
I like it. I'm not mad at it. Yeah.
That's a ceiling. And then West Virginia, that is a very good team. I don't think they can win this because there's a lot of high competition in here. But
you'd have a lot of tough matchups on that route. Yeah.
Yes. But Javon Small is amazing. Tucker DeVries is great. My Zags saw that firsthand. It's a very good West Virginia team that I think deserves to be in the tournament. So we're picking Houston, but there's a lot of teams here that can give them a run for their money or win it.
Without a doubt. And, I would say kind of similar to this next conference that we have here in a team that we are very high on in the Big East.
Yeah.
And the St. John's Johnnies, who I'm sure you have winning. I have them as my winner.
I do. If you've been on this channel, I'm a St. John's Glazer. So you could have penciled me in.
Fully.
Everyone watching could have penciled me in. Yeah.
Come out and we'll own it and say it. But
yeah.
Normally, as my saying has been, it's earned. one of
Mhm.
the better defenses we've seen, 25th in the nation and opponent's point per game perspective. But
Yep.
I don't think the stats tell the whole story there. If you watch this St.
No.
John's team, you know your team is in trouble doing anything. You are not
No.
going to be able to do what you want to do with this team on the court. They grind you. They just in your face. There's no downtime with this St. John's team. And we've talked about it all season long. They're shooting from the outside, and the free throw line is definitely
Mhm.
scary, but
Yeah.
gonna give them the edge in this solid Big East, which at the beginning of the season, I would not have had this as
No.
like probably anywhere in not even a twinkle in my eye. But
No.
here we are.
Yeah, I probably would have picked Marquette in the preseason if we were picking conference winners, but similar to you, I got St. John's. That defense, they hustle harder than maybe any team in the country. And
Mhm.
Pitino is maybe the greatest college coach of all time. Like, I at least put him on that pedestal with the greats, with the Caliparis, with all of those guys, Krzyzewski, everyone. He's
Yeah.
that incredible. Um, Second in Ken Palm efficiency in defense. They blitz you, they get at you, they dive on the floor. Their ceiling is capped to me due to their 3-point shooting. They put up a decent amount, but they
Yeah.
cannot make them
Mhm.
efficiently. And, we saw it a couple weeks ago in a game against Villanova where they got upset, where they hit 10 or 11 threes and they lost.
Yeah.
Most games, if this team can hit 10 threes, they win. I don't even need
Mhm.
to see another stat because if you can do that with this team, damn, your ceiling has grown. But it is the cap to, I think, winning a title. They could still go
Yes.
Final Four to me. They could go title game potentially, but I don't think they can win it over some of these higher offenses like an Auburn, even a Duke, even some of those
Alabama.
teams.
Yeah.
A bit, yeah. Like while you hustle your ass off and you're so good on defense, there's a scoring gap that you simply can't make up. So love the St. John's team, but I have to throw in my bit of realism. So I'm not like, oh my goodness, pick this team to the moon, like little bit there. And we can shift that now to the Big East as a whole because this is a multi-bid, of course, conference. Um,
Absolutely.
Marquette, they've been sliding. You and I have I've hit the panic button. I I don't think they're going on a deep run this year, given what I've seen.
Unfortunately not. But they have the talent to, but it's just
They
it's not clicking, man. It's not for
no,
whatever reason.
no. And Cam Jones is amazing. Again, we talk about guards in March. Cam Jones is a real one that can cause serious problems for any team. He could seriously drop 30 in a game.
Yeah.
He's that good. Creighton, I believe, can win this. They
Mm-hmm.
might be my second pick. If I were to pick a runner up,
Yeah.
probably would go with the Blue Jays, with Kalkbrenner being healthy and okay. I feel more confident. There's a certain team that won back-to-back titles in the Huskies. We're concerned, seriously concerned. I'd be pretty surprised, but I can't count out Hurley. And
It's crazy, man, because yeah, they have Care Band still. They have
yep,
freaking Solo Ball, who's a sophomore stud. Just like
he's
they
amazing.
have the they have the team, but it's just not
Yeah,
like not clicking.
McNeely,
Whatever. Yup. Dropping
like
40. Like, yeah.
yeah, yeah, he's a lottery pick in the draft too. Like it's I can't count them out though. Like, if we come back to this and they're the team that wins the Big East, I wouldn't be like, wow, dude, that's an upset. It would be, oh, they might be scary or scarier going into the tournament than maybe we were expecting. I'll give my sleeper pick that isn't going to happen, but I'll at least give them a shout out. I'm going with Villanova.
I really wanted to pick Villanova.
Yeah. Like, they won't. But if you were to ask me, okay, St. John's doesn't win it, Marquette doesn't win it, Creighton doesn't win it, UConn doesn't win it, who wins it? I'm going Villanova. But that's the... I don't think that happens.
Dark horse.
Yeah, man. Yeah. That's like a... Yeah, that's a pretty dark horse. They are not a tournament team at 18-12, but they could score the ball. They've got some hoopers on that team and some solid guard play, but yeah. St. John's for the win here.
Absolutely.
As a Eastern alumni, I guess I'll rip the Band-Aid off with the Big Sky Conference. This pains me to say.
Ooh.
I've got the Montana Grizzlies winning the Big Sky. Are you joining me, or do you have a different pick here?
I have a different pick, actually.
Okay.
I got Northern Colorado, the Bears, pulling it out in the Big Sky. Nice. But we're both 14-3 in conference, our picks. So
yes,
I think it's between one of these two.
Yeah, I guess I'll make my case for Montana. You make yours for Northern Colorado, and people can throw their hands up about this probably 15 seed on what's going to happen. Montana, 159th in the net. They have not lost since January 18th. So they've been playing their best basketball at the right time. They shoot 50% from the field, which is good enough for third in the country. So efficient shots, they're making them all across the court. That's the thing that's going to keep you in games. You're not taking these stupid heaves. You're not going for dumb shots. You're settling for good ones, and you're hitting them. 6 players with 8 or more points on this team, so you're able to score across. It's not this one guy who's kind of carrying your program. Not that that's bad or that means you can't win a conference, but it's nice when you know you've got a multitude of guys who can give you double digits on any given night. That's my case for the Grizzlies, Mo, but what do you got with Northern Colorado?
I respect it. In our most recent bracketology, ESPN believed they would be the team in it, so I am not upset at all. My reason for going with the Bears, they are 30th in the nation in scoring at 80 points a game. They can really put it on offensively. Another team where we've got 4 guys averaging double-digit scoring. Basically, I just need this team to run you out of the gym. They are the most efficient team in college basketball from a field goal percentage perspective. All of Division I, which I took this chance on a team that was in a similar state last year. Wright State. It ended up not cashing, but I'm doubling down. At least you guys know where my mind and my philosophies are. I'm saying consistent.
I love it. It's always good to have these different picks. I think it's between these two programs. I guess to give some I can speak from experience as an Eastern fan. Just because you're the 1 seed, we have proven we're more than capable of losing our first tourney game. More than capable. And that might just be an Eags thing. So maybe ignore that. It might be a Colin Coward curse of some sort. I don't know what's going on there with this team. But luckily, my Eags are 10-20 on the season. So we're not going to have to worry about seeing them get upset. But yeah, I think it's between these two. Portland State, I'll give a shout out. Idaho State, I'll give a shout out. But analytically, I think it's between Northern Colorado and Montana for the Big Sky.
Yeah, without a doubt. Shout out. Actually, never mind. We can keep going.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Good pivot. Big South time.
Yep.
Big South time. This is a team that we both picked to win it last year, and they didn't win it. I have High Point University winning the Big South. Are you with me? Bottoms,
I'm
baby.
doubling down again. Yep. Give me High Point.
Beautiful. I love it. We both had to. Mo, why did you pick High Point?
High Point, man. I am loving what they did in conference. Just kind of clearing it out. Unfortunately, it's not the strongest conference, but you gotta do what you can against the competition you have. 14-2 in conference, 26-5 on the season. Just a really great all around year for this High Point team, sitting at 86th in the net. They haven't played amazing comp, 0 quad 1 games, went 1-1 in quad 2. But holding their own in the bottom 2 quadrants at 23-4 record in the bottom 2 conferences. Quick math. Just a little redemption here, honestly, for my High Point pick.
I do too. I'm good with spinning back here. A lot of similar faces from last year's team as well. So feeling good about it. Like you said, 86th in the net, 25th in Ken Palm in offensive efficiency. So this is the note about this team. It's the same as last year. They want to shoot a lot. They want to outscore you. That is the team's philosophy. Obviously, It's basketball's philosophy to put up more points than the other team, but with them in particular, it's about we're going to put up a lot of shots and we're going to knock them down. 81.8 points per game, good enough for 18th in the country. They also have some great defensive metrics as well. So not just a one-trick pony. I feel like they're better defensively than they were last year, and I'm liking High Point to win it. This has been an interesting conference, though. We had Winthrop win it. In the last couple years, they've been a team that we've seen in the bracket. UNC
Longwood
Asheville
last season.
Yes, Longwood. Longwood taking care of business. Yeah, man, it'll be competitive, but both of us got High Point taking care of business.
Yes, sir. Love it.
And we're heading to a top dog. Again, a big conference, the Big Ten. I have the Sparties taking care of business and winning the Big Ten in a stacked conference. Did you pick Michigan State as well?
I am just loving what Izzo has his boys doing at the right time. I am joining you here, which is pretty crazy considering the strength of this conference, but I think we just are both so high on the Spartans team.
Yeah.
And obviously, Izzo, you have the coaching advantage. I'd say 99.9% of the time.
Yeah.
I'm rocking with it. So
yeah. I love this pick here. They did win today on recording against Wisconsin, another very quality win. They've been racking up quad 1 wins in the past 2 weeks like they're nothing, collecting them like they're infinity stones. The Spartans team is playing their best basketball at the right time. It's March, which means it's time for Izzo to have his boys really lock in and go on a run. Stacked conference. We'll get back to that. 10 teams really all in the field or fighting for a spot in some variety. They're kryptonite. They cannot hit a 3. They are terrible. 29.5%. 349th in the country in that regard. So if we want to talk about a ceiling, no, that is really bad. It's like St. John's a little bit where at some point it'll bite you. But
I was about to say, like St. John's, unlike St. John's though, free throw percentage, they're 7th in the nation at 80 as a team. So that's a good plus.
that's a great metric to see as well about, hey, and these
Mhm.
all these games are going to be close. Besides maybe like Michigan State might get a 15 seed where they run through them, but
Yeah,
most of those games you're going to need that. So
100%.
they make up for their 3-point terrible shooting with being 11th in the country in rebounds and 12th in the country in assists. Said
And
board up.
we board, we assist, we clamp too. We play some
Absolutely.
defense.
Yeah,
Usual Izzo classic D.
of
Um,
course.
but yeah, man, it was hard. Wanted to go Wisconsin, wanted to go Michigan,
Mhm.
who is tied with the Sparties in the
Yeah.
conference. But just lean in with, as I said, Izzo as at the right time, man. I think this team is bound for a big March, kind of
Yeah,
first time in
I
a
do
couple
too.
of years. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, winners of their last 5 now. They've just been great, but like you said, the Wolverines to me have been a team that I've absolutely loved. I love their big men with Wolf and Golden that can cause
Hmm.
serious problems. For Michigan State, they are able to battle that because they are so physical down low that it'll keep them in those games, which I think helps them match up well and why they were able to dominate kind of the last time they played. Maryland, right up there with the best starting 5 in the country. It's pretty incredible. The problem is when you have to go to that bench, it's not good. Um, we say it every video. You're an ankle injury or a foul situation away from being in serious trouble against a
Yeah.
lot of these really good teams. So that's
Hmm.
the kryptonite for Maryland. Wisconsin, a team that we both really love. Michigan State recently beating them as of today does help me feel a little more confident in giving the Spartans a win there. Purdue,
Hmm.
we're both worried about.
Yep. Definitely.
I Yeah, Braden Smith is amazing, but
Oh,
there's no Zach Edey this time to kind of
yeah.
hide some of those flaws. Very top heavy in terms of talent, but still a quality team that's absolutely in the field. Um, the Bruins, UCLA. This was a sleeper
Yeah.
because love what they do defensively. I think it's a team capable of going on an Elite Eight type run. But with the way the Sparties are playing, picked them. Illinois, worried about them, but they're kicking Michigan's ass as of recording. So
Wow.
that could be a sign of things to come,
Hmm.
maybe for the Illini.
Hmm.
Ducks in the field, a good team. I don't think they win this, but a quality team that'll make the tournament. And then you have
Yep.
the bubble teams in Indiana and Ohio State fighting to stay in the field or make it. That's your Big Ten breakdown, though, Mo. If you were to pick another team besides the Sparties, who would you pick?
I'd probably go with UCLA, as you said.
Yeah.
Just loving what they've been able to do, and as they have gotten kind of hot, um, we know what Mick and them boys are capable of. But
Mhm.
um, yeah, this is gonna be maybe one of the more enjoyable conference tourneys
I
to
agree.
track and watch as a whole. So
Yeah. Yeah.
funny
It
enough too,
will be a banger.
just to talk about Maryland versus Michigan State. Michigan State can't throw it in the ocean from three except when it's a full court heave, I
Dude.
guess. So we'll see, man. We'll see.
Yeah. Hit the one that mattered, you know?
Yep.
And I guess
Yep.
that's the important part. And similar to St. John's, if you can hit a couple of them, your ceiling grows exponentially. It grows to we can win a title. But
I
being
mean,
what is it?
they 349th.
Like brother.
you it's crazy. They average 78.2 points a game, though,
Yeah.
still with that poor like, just imagine if they could shoot 33%. This team would
Dude,
average 85 to not like there's
they might be the
they it's
yeah,
there. The
it is.
steps are there. So we'll
It
see.
is.
We'll see.
Yeah. So Both parties love the pick there. You rocking the green with the Celtics, so it
Yep,
was
yep.
it was a match made in heaven. But we're moving over to the Big West now. Mo, who do you have winning that?
I am not going to switch it up here. If you guys have been around, you know what Zay and I think of this UC San Diego team. They need to be in the tournament. They are going to prove it by winning the Big West Conference tourney, in my eyes.
Yeah.
34th in the net at the time of this recording. Steals, creating turnovers, not turning the ball over. Defense, they clamp up on D. Just really a big fan of this San Diego team. Zay, have your thoughts switched? Or are you sticking with me?
Retweet, brother. I'm picking UC San Diego as well with you. Like you said, 34th in the net. First year they can make the tourney. They haven't been eligible, and they finally are, and they look dangerous. They are going to be a popular Cinderella team. If you haven't seen UC San Diego play, they blitz you defensively. 4th in the country in steals. Hayden Gray leads the country in steals with over 3 a game. They get at you. They have another player I'm blanking on who on the team, but who's top 20 in the country in steals as well. So that's their bread and butter. They don't turn the ball over either, which is beautiful when a team can strip you down and then not get stripped on the other end. They're small. That is the note. They are, I believe, the smallest team in the country. A lot of times they're running 3-4 guards out there at a time. They don't have a lot of size, which helps in terms of speed and knocking the 3 ball down and being able to cover the perimeter and get those switches that they want. But
yeah, which they
when
do
you're going
very
up
good
against
in all those things. But
they do. They tremendous. But when you go up against like a Michigan in a tournament, how do you cover that? How do you cover Wolf and Golden? How do you do? And that's, we don't know, but I do know this team is extremely talented, and that defense is good enough to go on a run in March Madness. Quick note, UC Irvine, they're the second team to me that I was really battling with. I
yeah,
think they deserve to be in the conversation for an at-large bid if they don't get in, or vice versa. If UC Irvine wins this and UC San Diego doesn't, I want to see them in.
yeah,
I want to see them in the tournament. Give me that over an SEC team that gets blown out a ton. And I get it's highly competitive, but I would way rather see a team like UC San Diego in the field. I think UC Irvine deserves some credit, though. They are that second team to me. And I really think it's a 2-team race in the Big West.
I agree. UC Irvine 63rd in the net, a game behind UC San Diego at 15-3 in conference. I agree with that. I'm sure knowing the committee, probably unfortunately not going to happen, but we'll see, man. We'll see if they have a great tournament, if they have an amazing championship game, goes back and forth, shot for shot. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, we saw that last year with Indiana State and Drake, right? Where it looked like they both deserved to get in, and Drake won it, and then Indiana State was the last team to miss, or the first team to miss.
Yeah.
You got to win this. I mean, that's really what it boils down to. That's the only advice I can give, which is a duh, but like knowing the committee, take care of business, UC San Diego, win the Big West.
Yep.
On to another competitive one that is very open in terms of the winner. We have the Coastal Athletic Conference, and I can get us started here.
Yes,
I've got
sir.
the Seahawks, UNC Wilmington, taking care of business, going as not a big mix up here. I believe they're second in the conference, but Towson is definitely the popular pick in this field for UNC. It's a very interesting makeup. Only 2 double-digit scorers on this entire roster. They shoot the ball efficiently. very efficiently. That is their bread and butter as well, similar to Montana, but they're not a team that takes very many threes. So again, make or break. It's good if you're knocking those twos down consistently, but if it turns into a math game where someone's just knocking those threes, it could get ugly. They're also one of the best teams in the country at scoring in the first half. So they want to get out ahead early and they want to just maintain that lead. I've got Wilmington taking care of business, but this is competitive, Mo. Do you have a different pick than me here?
I do, and surprisingly enough, it is not Towson either, who we've seen in
Wow.
our bracketology videos. I'm going with a team that I believe we both picked last year. We both were
We
very
did.
high on last year. Unfortunately, they got bounced, to say the least. But I'm sticking with Charleston for the second straight year, winning this conference in my eyes for the second straight season. Redemption for this Charleston squad, who is having another team in my checklist. 4 players averaging double-digit scoring. Their defense is shaky. That's what is my big worry coming into this tournament. But they've been pretty solid in conference play, and they are on a 2-game win streak heading into the heading into the conference tournament. So we'll see, man. I'm just another redemption pick here for me.
Yeah, love it. Towson obviously is the number 1 team in the conference, deserves some respect as well. If they win it, there's absolutely no surprise there. But I feel like it's between kind of these 3 teams all battling it out to win the CAA. Yep. And we can transition now to another conference that I believe is pretty open. I think it's another 3-team race here. Conference USA. I've got Jacksonville State taking care of business. Are you with me this time, or do you have a different pick again?
I have a different pick.
Cool.
In the Conference USA. And, I'll take it away here, Zay, if you don't mind. I got Liberty winning the Conference USA tourney. As you said, kind of a 3-team race between your pick, Jacksonville State, my pick, Liberty, and I would say Middle Tennessee is that 3rd team in my eyes. But Liberty, 11-4 in the conference, 66th in the net, which is the only team in this conference to be top 100. They are an amazing defensive team, sitting at 8th in the nation in opponent points per game, 63 points per game at that. They clamp, man. As I've said, defense travels, and I'm rocking with Liberty in the CUSA.
Can't disagree with you. I mean, Liberty has become a staple of being like an 11, 12 seed in the past couple of years. Going to Jacksonville State, 115th in the net, Liberty being as high as they are is definitely, there's a gap between them and the rest of the conference and a lot of mid-majors in general. So for Jacksonville State, they recently beat Liberty 72-61, which is one of those wins that helps give me a little more respect for the program. But the biggest thing for me is Jason Pierre Jr. This dude is a bucket. 22.1 points per game, 5.3 assists per game, 3.9 rebounds per game, and shooting 41.1% from 3. You want to talk about a player who can elevate your team and surprise someone in the tournament. I think it's Jason Pierre. The team as a whole plays some very solid defense, so I'm going with Jacksonville State. However, no surprise at all if Liberty takes care of business and and goes on to win the Conference USA.
Love the pick though, man. I wasn't familiar with his game.
People might they might have to learn. They might have to learn.
Yep.
They might see a couple
Well,
master classes here in the next couple weeks. So
I love it. I love it.
we'll see though. Middle Tennessee, I agree with you though. I think they are that third team. They've been in the mix the past couple of seasons to win it, but Jacksonville State for me, Liberty for you. Maybe we'll get on track with this next pick. Talking about USA. Robert Morris is my pick to win the Horizon League. Mo, are you back on track with me, or are we deviating again?
We're back, man, because this team is in my checklist of having 4 players averaging double-digit scoring.
Yeah.
And I messed it up. This was the win streak I was looking for. Currently on a 7-game heater, heading into the conference tourney in the Horizon. Milwaukee is probably going to be the popular pick. They're the second best team in the conference based on rankings, but they're 127th in the net. But I'm loving the Conference USA slide over to the Horizon. Give me the Patriot League. Give me Robert Morris, man.
Yeah, I've got it too. This conference is wide open, one of the most open in the country. You have 5 teams within 1.5 games of each other. It is going to be a battle with Robert Morris, Milwaukee, Cleveland State, Youngstown State, and Purdue Fort Wayne. It is going to be close. I love this Robert Morris team, though. Winners of their last 7. They rebound the ball very well. And Cam Woods is a player to watch. You want to talk about guard play that can take your team and get you into the bracket. I believe that is what it'll take for Robert Morris. I will add as a sleeper, because I talked about how there's that 5-team kind of gauntlet going on. The sleeper pick here is it is Northern Kentucky. Sorry, I can't read. Northern Kentucky was won their last 4 games. They're on a bit of a heater. Can that carry into their conference tournament and they be one of those surprise 6 seeds in conference play that wins it? Who's to tell? But I will make a note of them as, hey, they're not in that mix of those 5 teams battling, but they're getting hot at the right time. Maybe they can carry that in and surprise people in the Horizon League.
I love it, man. Similar again, but as you said, definitely wide open with as close as the teams have been in the conference, kind of cannibalizing each other, but we'll see.
On to the next conference. Let's talk about some nerds, man. The Ivy League. Let's talk about some people getting shoved in lockers, some people. I'm kidding.
These boys can
hoop. Yeah,
but they can hoop.
Yeah, but damn, this team in particular, I got the Yale Bulldogs taking care of business and making the tournament again.
Yep. I'm with you. I'm with you.
Perfect. I think Yale is, I won't say head and shoulders, but there's a gap between them and some of these other teams in the conference. This Yale team is very good. I would be pretty shocked if they don't win the Ivy League. 12-1 in conference play. The next best is Cornell at 8-5. 45th in offensive efficiency. They're a veteran team. Obviously had that massive win that I was lucky enough to see in person last year against Auburn. One of the more fun upsets. They went in as a 13 seed and took care of business. Could we see something similar this year? I think so. This is a very good Bulldogs team, and they are absolutely my pick to win the Ivy League.
I couldn't agree more. Sucks. They were close to the perfect season, just lost yesterday to Harvard, which could be a bit alarming. but
Mhm.
you can't expect perfection, even though it would have been sweet. But I'm sticking with the Bulldogs as well. 82 points a game. That puts them at 16th in the nation. They shoot the three pretty well at 38%. That puts them at 20th in the nation. Overall field goal percentage about 48.8, 12th in the nation. They can score. They can be efficient. Defense could be a little bit better, but I'm not really too worried about that taking its toll, at least in the conference tournament.
Yeah. I think this is a very good Bulldogs team.
Yeah.
They're, to me, one of those winners that I feel pretty confident in saying. But, hey, that recent loss to Harvard, that is alarming. That is definitely a, hey, if you do that in a conference game, there go your March Madness dream. So maybe it's what they needed. Maybe it'll get them correct course, make the tournament as a 12, 13 seed. Yeah, like, all right, we got to take our conference a little more seriously, but Bulldogs for the win here in the Ivy League. On to one that is more open. The Metro Atlantic, the MAAC. My winner pick here is Merrimack. A bit of a less of I believe they're third in their conference, so still in the mix, but I'm going with Merrimack. Are you going with the same pick? You got something different under your belt? What are you feeling?
I am deferring to a different team in this conference, and that's going to be the Red Foxes of Marist. Currently 13-4 in the conference, good for second at the time of this recording. The big thing for the Red Foxes is their defense, holding teams to 64.5 points a game, good for 15th in the nation. Their offense is kind of non-existent, but I think the Clamps are going to come through here in the conference tourney, put a couple good games together, and come out with a victory. But I love the Merrimack pick. Definitely one of, I would say, three teams that I think is capable of winning the conference tourney.
Yeah. This is one I will happily say I do not feel super confident in. I think this league is pretty open, but I went with Merrimack, 190th in the net. They're 80th in defensive efficiency. They shoot a lot of threes. That is the team's DNA, and Adam Clark for them is the player to watch. 20 points, 4.4 rebounds, 5.8 assists. So he's the type of player that can elevate your team and take you to that next level, potentially rattling off some wins or an upset over a team in your conference. Not mad at your pick at all. I think Quinnipiac is the favorite, and neither of us had them. So cannot count them out for obvious reasons, but we'll see, man. We'll see. Can a St. Peter's make an upset run through here again? I would be surprised, but crazier things have happened.
They beat my pick today at the time of this recording, so we'll see. We'll see.
This is one I'm excited to watch because I really, if you were to give me a confidence scale from 1 to 10, it's probably like a 3 or a 4. It's not one I feel strong in. I think this conference is going to be a fun and competitive one as we go into conference play. Here's one that I have a feeling we're going to be on the same page about, though. Got Akron winning the Mid-American Conference, Mo. Are you with me?
I am doubling down on the offensive craziness of the Zips of Akron as well.
Amazing. They're so fun to watch. One of my favorite mid-majors in the country, 15-1 in the MAAC. They play at an extremely fast pace. They want to light you up with a ton of threes, shoot 9th in the country in terms of 3-point attempts per game. So they're rattling them off quick, 10th in points per game as a whole. So offensively, a juggernaut. They want to play quick. They want to run up and down the court, and they want to knock the 3-ball down. I really like this Akron team. I'd be pretty surprised if they're not the team we hear winning this conference here when their tournament is done.
I totally agree. Barely being the only team in the top 100 of the net at 99, but we'll give it to them. And as you said, that offense, man, they fly. They chuck up threes. They assist on a lot of shots. They're 5th in the nation in assists per game as a team. They rebound the ball really well, sitting at 21 with 38.9 boards. They just control the offensive side of the ball very well. And yeah, as you said, would be very shocked if they didn't make it out of this conference.
Yeah, this one, see, if you were to ask me a confidence rating on this one, I'd probably give you a 9, an 8 or a 9. I feel pretty good about the Zips taking care of business. Another one that is a little more open that we could maybe disagree on is the Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference. I have Norfolk State walking away with the conference title. Surprise pick here, or are you picking the top dog?
I am sticking with you and the top dog of Norfolk State, sitting at 10-2 in the conference, 20-9 on the season. Yeah, I think kind of similar to Akron, I would be pretty confident in this pick, the Spartans making it out. But
yeah,
South Carolina State's pretty good, a game behind them at 9-3, not as good in the non-conference, but that doesn't matter this time of the season. It's what you can do in your conference. So we'll see. We'll see what we can cook up here in the MEAC.
Yes. Yeah, Norfolk State, the big note for me, they battle tested themselves hard in the non-conference. They played Tennessee, Baylor, and Stanford, and I think that has really helped getting on track in conference play of, all right, here's some of in the case of Tennessee in particular, here's a 1 or 2 seed in the tournament. Let's play against them and really see where we're at. I think those games were a good test. They were on a 9-game win streak before this recent loss. They have very stifling defense, which is their calling card, shooting 48% as a whole on the season as a team, which is good enough for 34th in the country. Solid Norfolk State team, 16 seed, assuming that they win, but this is a team that's made it prior, and for my Zags fans that tune in, this is I believe Nigel Williams-Goss played here at Norfolk State as well. Random tidbit of Zags history to throw in because I won't have many good things to say.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that, though.
Yeah. It's just random BS that I keep in my brain for absolutely no reason. But onto a team that deserves our attention. You know, this guy may not have won a beef this year, but this college is particularly good. I have the Drake Bulldogs winning the Missouri Valley Conference as the top dog pick.
I do as well. I was really struggling with this one, kind of going back and forth with Drake and Bradley, but ultimately settled on the Bulldogs. Their defense, man, number 3 in the nation in opponent points per game at 60.8. That is damn good. They do a lot of things well on the defensive end, controlling their turnovers, not really giving up the rock and creating turnovers. Just a big Drake fan out of the NBC. But no disrespect to Bradley, you and I.
No.
We'll see.
Yeah, I think this conference will be more competitive than people expect. Obviously, last year the whole story was them and Indiana State, like I talked about earlier, but Indiana State not really being a factor this time around. Bradley, I would say, is that second team, 15-5 in conference play, 24-7 on the season. As for Drake, 5-1 in the top 2 quadrants. So love to see that with a mid-majors resume, 57th in the net, split the season series against Bradley. Are we gearing up for a part 3 for all the marbles? I think so.
I think so. Bradley, the best 3-point shooting team in the country.
Yeah.
Number one at, sorry, I lost the number, 40.8% as a team.
That is stupid.
Ridiculous.
Stupid.
Yeah. But
that's, yeah.
Let's see, man.
I think it's between them. It's really between them. Drake, defensive metrics wise, is very solid. They are top 10 in these 4 defensive categories: field goal attempts by the other team, field goals made by the other team, rebounds for the other team, and points per game for the other team. You want to look at a team's DNA? Being top 10 in the country in all of those tiers is very good, especially when you're going up against a team like Bradley, who, like you said, hits 48% of their threes. That sounds like some 2K garbage that we came up with. So, great stat for them there. And this next one is all you, brother. Mountain West Conference, another one that's going to have multiple tournament teams. Are you picking your Broncos to win it, or do you got someone else?
So I have the Boise State Broncos winning the Mountain West Conference. They have, surprise, 4 players in double-digit scoring. You know I love that. Cardenas coming over from San Jose State and just being a stud. Sorry if you can hear this jet that's flying over our house right now. But it's because we're soaring to the moon. It's because Boise to the moon, currently on a 4-game win streak with some big victories over Utah State, over New Mexico. Just really loving what the Broncos are doing. I think they're playing their best basketball at the right time. This is a very top-heavy Mountain West. It could be a San Diego State, who was my original pick before I reined it back and stuck with the Broncos. Could be a New Mexico, could be a Utah State, could be a Colorado State, who has been very good in conference play. But give me my Broncos. 66.1 opponent points per game, good enough for 28th in the country. And we're gonna hit some shots, man. We're gonna put up some 56.2% from the field, 32nd in the country. Give me the boys in blue. I'm always backing them.
Well, I don't have Boise State, but this is one that I don't feel as confident in. I think the Mountain West is wide open, and the recent play of Utah State has made me lean a little further off. Losers of 3 of their last 5, but I'm going with the Aggies to win the Mountain West. This is a region or a conference that is wide open with New Mexico, Colorado State, San Diego State, Boise State. Like, this is going to be highly competitive. So you could really pick between a couple teams, and I won't have a problem with you. But Utah State, 38th in the net, 17.3 assists per game, which is good enough for 8th in the country. They shoot the ball extremely well, and they shoot it very efficiently at that. Their resume as a whole is on the weaker end, but I think given what they've done in this conference the past couple of years and the roster that they have this year, I'm going to call Utah State, but I don't think you're crazy for picking your Broncos. Tyson is amazing, playing some of his best basketball at the moment. Donovan Dent
Hooping.
at New Mexico is hooping. There's a lot of great players in this Mountain West that are making it hard to make a pick, but I'm going with Utah State, even if my confidence in them is teetering more than it was about a month ago.
Yeah, I am not mad at it. As you said, one of the better teams in the conference, best in the net right now in the conference at 38. We'll see, man. I'd love that championship matchup between these two as we split the season
Yeah,
series.
absolutely.
Mhm.
Absolutely. And we could get it. We could absolutely get it. This is going to be a fun conference to see. It's always entertaining. I believe last year we had 6 tournament teams out of the Mountain West. This year
Yeah,
you're going to get a solid handful again, not 6, but you're going to get a couple of really quality teams making the tournament. So definitely a conference to tune into, even if you're not a Boise State Broncos fan.
without a
Some
doubt.
good hoops.
Mm-hmm.
Northeast Conference time. I've got the other Blue Jays, or Blue Jays, Blue Devils, taking care of business and winning the Northeast Conference. Mo, have you got the number 1 team as well?
Last year, when they weren't as good in this conference, I picked Central Connecticut. It appeared to just be 1 year too early. I'm spinning back, doubling down,
Talk.
taking the Blue Devils with you as well. Just kind of on a tear in this conference, with LIU kind of on their heels at 12-4. This team at 14-2. Just absolutely cooking. Their defense, man, it's
Mm-hmm.
legit. 63.3 points per game for their opponents. Good enough for 10th in the country. Defense travels.
Yeah, I love the
Defense
pick,
travels.
dude. It's a very quality team out there. Um, Number 1 in both defensive and offensive efficiency in their conference. So heavyweight on both sides of the basketball. Great defensively, 10th in opponents' points per game in the country. Just very sound on that end. Winners of their last 12 games, taking care of business in conference after a 2-2 start in conference play. It's a very solid team, man. I think they are the favorite to win. If I were to pick a second, I would go Long Island. But I think it's Central Connecticut's conference to lose.
I would agree with that, my friend.
And that leaves us to another one that is got a heavyweight that I'm picking, another boring pick, but Southeast Missouri State, SEMO, winning the Ohio Valley Conference. Are we going top dog again?
Yeah, I guess I'm a little boring and top heavy, but I do have SEMO as well in the Ohio Valley Conference. Close but no cigar on my 4 players averaging double digits. That fourth guy
Yeah.
sitting at 9.2, but they got depth, they got scoring, they got defense. They're a great balanced team. Their defense probably a little bit better, holding teams to 69.7 points per game. But just as you said, kind of looking like the clear-cut favorite in this
Yeah.
conference.
Yeah, I think they're the class of the OVC. Like, this is a very solid Southeast Missouri State team. They may not hit you in the 10 points category, but in the 9 points category, they do with 5 players averaging 9 or more points there.
Yep.
Defensively, on the perimeter, this is what really impresses me, the note that I made. They only give up 5.2 made 3-pointers per game. That is number 1 in the country. clamps from 3, and
Damn.
they only allow teams to shoot 28.5% from 3 from long range. Stifling defense on the perimeter. I think Southeast Missouri State is the best team in the conference, and they're the boring pick because they're the 1 seed. They're deserving of. So I really do think it's their conference to lose.
Fully agreed there. Back-to-back conferences, back on track.
Yeah, and that, I will say, they are coming off of a loss here. Let me pull my note up on the score of that game. They did lose 73-58 in their last game against Eastern Illinois. So, again, there's weakness there going into their conference play, but one loss doesn't mean I'm going to go away from what I've seen from a body of work as a whole.
Yeah.
And same pick, they're back on track.
Love it. Love to see it.
And it's Patriot League time. I've got Bucknell University, the Bison, winning the conference at second as the seed. Are we linking up for the second time in a row?
Let's keep the train moving, man. I got Bucknell as well. Currently on a 6-game win streak. It would have been 10 if they didn't lose in a double overtime thriller at Army. But still, 6 games is pretty damn good. Kind of a oddity, at least in the college basketball realm. We don't see this as much, but their 7-foot center, junior Noah Williamson, is leading the team in points per game at 17.3 and 7.6 boards as well. A senior guard is following that up at 15.7 points per game. Their team stats truly, honestly, don't jump off the page at you. It's kind of hard for that to be the case when you're 206th in the net, but I would say it's between them and American in the Patriot. Unfortunately, don't think our toothpaste friends are gonna make it in and go on a run this year, but I got the Bison.
Yeah, they have been our toothpaste friends have been in the bracket the past couple of years, and I wouldn't be surprised if Colgate does end up winning this. Bucknell is weird though. They were a team that lost 8 straight games earlier this year, had some very tough non-con games, including games against Kentucky. They lost 100-72. They got a nice win over Richmond. They lost 91-67 against Maryland. They lost 86-65 against Gonzaga. Syracuse, they took a loss. It's been battle tested in the non-conference as well, and I think there is something to that with these mid-major schools playing those super difficult games and then going into conference play, knowing where all your ducks are in a row. 12-4 in their last 16 games. They shoot the ball well. I had the same note about Noah Williamson as a dominant force on the interior for the Bison. I've got them winning the Patriot, but like we said, if I were to pick a second team, I'd probably go American.
Yeah.
I'd probably be boring, but
I mean, that's what we've seen in our bracketologies. I mean, I feel like it's kind of unfortunately clear cut here in the Patriot.
Yeah.
Not as open.
No. But winners of their last 6, we'll see if Bucknell can stay on track and take care of business to win their league. And we are moving on to the greatest league, the greatest conference that we have ever seen, maybe in the history of men's college basketball, the SEC. With all that being said, I've got the boring pick. I've got the Auburn Tigers, the number 1 team in the country, winning the SEC. Same for you here. I feel like you do because we picked them to win the title in all of our bracket videos.
Yeah, I decided to not get cute here and stick with the Tigers as well. It just blows my mind. My thing has been we got 4 guys in double digit scoring. I'm in on them. This team has 6.
Yeah.
And
one of them is,
player of the
the
year.
player of the year. So
Leads their team in every stat except steals. And if you don't know who we're talking about, if you've been living under a rock for whatever reason, Janai Broom, 18.4 points, 10.8 boards, double threat, 3.3 assists, 2.4 blocks. Just like stupid simulation stats. Yeah. Like it's cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. As much as I wanted to, if I would have gotten cute here and would have gone off the board, I know there's Florida. I know there's Tennessee who's looking good. I know there's Alabama. I'll tear it. I would have Auburn. My next getting a little cute. Tennessee. I'm getting really cute. Give me Missouri is what I would have done.
Yeah. And no spoiler, but you could see that. Holy crap, random yawn. But you can see that in our last bracket video. We're both high on that Missouri team. You in particular. This SEC conference boasts 3 1 seeds. I mean, you're going to have Auburn. You're going to have Florida. You're going to have Bama. You have Tennessee. Well, that's a 2 seed. You have Missouri, who is playing their way up and up and up in the bracket. A&M, incredible. Ole Miss has been sliding. They're still comfortably in the field. Kentucky. They're still playing some great basketball offensively, are right there in the mix. Mississippi State, a very quality team, even with, some of their recent struggles. You have Vanderbilt. They're on a 3-game win streak in the SEC and is really starting to hit their stride at the right time. You have Arkansas in the Razorbacks, where Calipari's got his guys playing some good basketball. 6-10 in conference play would normally not cut it, but we're dealing with a historic precedent in what we're seeing in the SEC.
Yeah.
The Georgia Bulldogs are in the mix. I would say we just got a comment on the last video about our thoughts on them. Personally, they're either the last team in or they're like the first team out. They're right in that thread there. I'm not counting Texas out, and I'm not counting Oklahoma out. It is ridiculous to name all of those teams, and the fact they're all in the same conference is absurd. So, listen, boring pick here with Auburn. This is literally a mini March Madness. Like, we're going to see some incredible basketball like we've been seeing all year.
Just quick thought that popped into my head. The Big East holds the record for sending 11 teams to the Big Dance. The SEC is going to have at least 12. So get ready for a new record. It's
absurd, man. Like, the only teams you can count out are LSU and South Carolina. That doesn't mean Oklahoma gets in.
Imagine one of them wins the conference tournament. You got 13 to 14 teams.
Yeah, and you get like Oklahoma or Texas going on a run to get there, so it like solidifies they don't drop out either, and it's this like mayhem. In this conference, I'm putting nothing past them. Yeah, wide open. Listen, we've got Auburn. It's the boring pick. It's the number 1 overall team, the number 1 overall seed when the bracket is revealed. If you are picking Bama, if you're picking Florida, Tennessee, Missouri, like you brought up, A&M, any of those teams, you will be arguing with nobody. I totally see the vision, but at the same time, man, how can I pick against this Tigers team?
We talked about the Big Ten having one of the more enjoyable conference tourneys to follow. Well, here is the most enjoyable conference tourney to follow, and by far, just can't wait for it to get underway.
And again, if you're someone who clicks on this video and doesn't watch any college basketball but wants to know little tidbits about these teams and conferences, tune into the SEC every game. Just watch them. You're probably getting your championship winner this year in this conference. So if you were to give me SEC or the field, I'm taking SEC.
I mean, considering I had 4 of my 4 Final Four teams being from the SEC, yeah, I think that's just a little something to say about how damn good this conference is.
Strength. It's ridiculous. On to one that's more wide open. This is one of my more surprising picks that I've made. The Southern Conference. I've got the Samford Bulldogs winning it. They are currently 4th in the conference. As one of my bigger risks in making a pick here, Mo, are you taking a big swing with me, or are you playing it a little safe?
I happen to be taking the big swing. I love the offense of the Samford Bulldogs team, man. 82.1 points per game, good for 15th in the country. They shoot the 3 pretty well, too, at 37%, good for 39th. The overall shooting percentage, 89th in the country. They are a solid offensive team. They assist really well. They rebound pretty well. All around, I'm in on the Bulldogs out of the Southern Conference.
Locked in, brother. Offensively. Now, listen. You know the Kansas Hate had to come back up again, even though it was last year's team. This team got robbed last year in that game against Kansas. Terrible officiating cost them a massive upset win, which would have had them go up against Gonzaga. So we could have had a Bulldog against Bulldog situation. Michael Vick would have loved it. But for Samford, 15th in points per game. Yo, I'm sorry. That was off the top, okay? That was off top.
That was lit. That was lit.
Okay, all right. We'll get back to basketball now. 15th in points per game in the country. Make the 3rd most threes per game in the country and are 7th in attempts, which makes sense. You're chucking up a ton of threes, so you're making a lot of them. They are great. One of the weirder notes, great on the offensive glass. Defensive glass, it doesn't click, but they give themselves a lot of, like you get a lot of second opportunities. You're rebounding the ball well, so you're able to kick it out. That's the best shot you can get in basketball, is everyone collapsing in the paint trying to get a rebound. You get it, kick it out to a shooter, bread, butter, serve it on a plate. But we'll see. I like that we're going a little more bold with this pick. Chattanooga, the more popular pick, and for good reason. A very quality team as well, 15-3 in the conference. You have UNC Greensboro and East Tennessee State also in the mix, ahead of Samford currently, who is 12-6 in conference play. With Chattanooga, winners of their last 11 games. So, we'll see, man. It's
wide open. Furman too, 23-8, kind of struggled in conference a little bit, but had a great non-con. We'll see.
This one is wide open, or you could have the Citadel Bulldogs, who have lost 21 in a row.
0 for 18 is.
I'm sorry. Yeah, like I'm not even gonna dig on you guys. If you tune in, if any Citadel fan tunes in, please comment, because I've never met one, but that's painful, man. 0-18 in a year. If my team experienced that, I might never watch basketball again. So
That is actually, sickening.
You are strong. You are strong. Hopefully next year. Hey, we saw it with
Mhm.
Missouri. You know,
Yeah.
Missouri lost all their conference games, and look at them now. So
Yep. We're back.
there's your optimism. You know, it helps when they have the funding and the name and the conference and all of that they do. But anyways, on to one that's a little more clear cut. I'm picking the top dog here in McNeese to win the Southland Conference. Same for you.
Yep, I have the Cowboys making it again into March, into the big dance, 18-1 on the year in the Southland. Really good defense, 64.5 points per game for their opponents, good enough for 14th in the country. Kind of blow teams out as well in this conference that they are probably kind of similar to a Memphis, not as high of a scale, but you might want to consider moving to more competitive conference if you're at McNeese, especially with these last two amazing March Madness worthy seasons. But they blow teams out 23rd in the country in average score margin at 10.3. So I'm liking the Cowboys, but we'll see what they could do in the big dance.
Yeah, for me, McNeese is just head and shoulders above the other teams in this competition now, or in their conference. Excuse me. Lamar is going to make a case. Like it's not guaranteed. Nichols is going to be in the mix, but I think McNeese takes this. Breed for them as a guard is putting up 17.5 points per game. Where did he transfer from? Providence, maybe. I don't know. This is off top, but he's made a massive impact. 17.5 points per game there. Very sound defensively. It's a complete unit with McNeese. Will Wade has his guys and is building a very, very solid mid-major team that can compete to win their conference title year in and year out. Like you said, we'll see what the future holds in terms of staying there and potentially them wanting to leave, but that's a whole, control what's in front of you right now. Right now, you got to win your conference tourney. So I've got McNeese.
I love it, man.
It's boring, but
yep.
And staying in these Southern conferences, we have the Southwestern Athletic Conference. I've got the Southern Jaguars winning it as the number one team in the conference. Same for you, or do you have something different?
I also have Southern, as you said, the top team here in the SWAC at 13-2, as well as overall record at 18-10 on the year. They generate a lot of steals. They're very solid on D. Active hands, 9.3 steals a game, good for 11th in the country. They turn their opponents over at a very high rate, 16th in the country for opponent turnovers per game, averaging about 15. Damn. That's a lot a game. Lots of chances to get in transition, score some buckets, and they've been doing it well here in the SWAC at 218 in the net, the best in this conference.
Yeah, similar to a Norfolk State that we talked about earlier, battle tested in the non-con, Texas A&M, Ole Miss, Nebraska, and USC. So you get to go up against these teams, lose, but you're putting yourself in these tough games. That wasn't even meant to be a knock. I don't. Let me clarify that. I know how that came
I'm
off.
sorry. I started laughing.
Yeah. Once you said that, I'm like, damn, that did sound backhanded. It's really not. I think there is something to battling these bigger programs earlier, and even if you lose, you'll learn some things about how you can compete against them. Your whole thing of having all these players, multiple players, 4 to 5 players putting up 10 or more. This team has one player who puts up 10 points per game. It is a team effort in every sense of the word. It is, I don't know if I've ever seen that. And he's
That is
literally averaging like
crazy.
10.1,
Yeah, it's
10.2.
not
Like,
high. It's not 20. It's
no.
not. It's high.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
insane.
Where it's I don't think I've ever seen that. So it's a complete team effort. They do not shoot the three ball. So that is not a part of their team's DNA. I know in this modern era, you want to chuck up a 23 ton of threes, make a ton of them.
Mm-hmm.
That's not Southern's MO. And we'll see. I think this one is open as well. Jackson State is winners of their last 3, 11-4 in conference play. Um, it's going to be competitive. I think this one is pretty open, but I'm sticking with the safer pick. Southern 10-0 at home as well. Only
Mm-hmm.
8-10 on the road, though. I know a lot of those, like I said, are against those top teams like A&M, Ole Miss, Nebraska, USC. So that accounts for 4 of their losses. But no, you're that.
We'll
We'll
see if they can.
see.
Yeah, if they can handle the pressure of a neutral side, all that stuff. We'll see.
Yeah. And that leaves us with the Summit. 4 more conferences remaining. Mo, who have you got winning the Summit?
In the Summit, I'm going with Jokic Light and the South Dakota State Jackrabbits.
Me too.
Oscar Clough, their big man, 6'11", leading the team in points, 17.3, rebounds, 12.2, assists, 2.9. They don't really block, but he's leading them in blocks as well at just under 1. Although he doesn't really shoot the 3, he's attempted 5 on the season. He's made 3 of them. That's why I'm giving him the Jokic Light
Yeah.
nickname here. But 2 other players, 2 guards in double-digit scoring here for the Jackrabbits. I personally, side note, probably would have ripped St. Thomas if I could, but I am not allowed to. So go Jackrabbits. Had a great matchup against Boise State, one that we won by 1 or 2, I believe. But it shows that they can play good tournament teams. So we'll see.
Yeah, St. Thomas is a school that doesn't qualify, just to add that in there. This is their final year of being ineligible. But as we saw with the UC San Diego this year, could become eligible. And when we do this video next year, there's a good chance we pick them to win the Summit League. But I am with you. I'm picking South Dakota State as well. 8th in the country in rebounds per game. I always love to see, a team that can rebound well, because I think it's a good indicator for defense, getting second opportunities, and being able to move that possession from the other team to yours. They shoot the ball very well. And Oscar Clough, as you said, is a player to tune into. If you want to see some of these mid-major great players, check out South Dakota State. And I believe we're in for a fun Summit League between this mix of them, Omaha, who is very solid. They are the number 1 team in the conference for a reason. Winners of their last 3 games, 19-12 on the season. North Dakota State is another team that I won't count out either. But both of us going with South Dakota State to win the Summit League.
I'm loving the Jackrabbits, but
yeah,
we're getting down. We're getting down to it, huh?
We're getting down to it, and there's still some great hoops here remaining with these final 3 teams. It is the Sun Belt Conference that we've got here, and I'm going with Arkansas State to win the Sun Belt.
I am joining you. We're on a streak at the moment.
We are, man.
But
we're on fire.
We're back in the check mark. 4 players averaging double-digit points, 78.6 points per game as a team, good enough for 50th in the nation. They're also pretty solid on the defensive side of the ball as well, 69.5 points per game for their opponent. They rebound really well, both sides of the ball, 40.8 total rebounds per game, good enough for 4th in the nation. But it's a little bit of a open bracket down here in the Sun Belt. I would say this isn't a clear cut. I'm confident in my pick, but there's a lot of good options.
Yeah, that is you set me up perfectly. 5 teams in the conference are separated by 2 games. You have South Alabama leading it. I'll go in order. South Alabama, James Madison, who won it last year and was a very fun team. Arkansas State, obviously our pick. Troy and Marshall, and then App State is 10-8 in conference play, following behind them in that kind of other tier of teams. But I've got Arkansas State 91st in the net. Again, seeing a team in the top 100 in the net is a good sign for a mid-major. They have a great win against Memphis this year, which is always good when you can go up against a team like that, kind of punch up and get that victory. It's funny, you criticize a team like Memphis when they lose that, but then when you talk about the other team, it's like, hey, that's a good win. So, very, very close. A great win over Memphis. 12th defense nationally in efficiency. So that is a bread and butter for them. They're 4th in rebounds per game. Sound defense overall. Not the top dog in their conference, in a one that's very mixed up. Another fun mid-major one, if you want to just tune into what I assume are going to be a lot of very close 1 or 2 possession games. But
yeah,
Arkansas State to win the Sun Belt. We're staying locked in. And I'll get us started with this one. The WCC, my Zags.
Retweet.
I have the Gales winning the WCC. Let's cover St. Mary's first, and then we can get to the other teams. St. Mary's.
I agree.
Okay, let's be optimistic first. St. Mary's is a great team. I'm happy to see them moving up Lenardi's bracket. I saw they were kind of in that 7-8 seed. Now they're in like that 6 seed. I think they're deserving of a 5. So let me make that clear. 17th in the net, sweep of the Zags this year. A regular season WCC title. What do you got? I just can't.
To continue on St. Mary's, sorry. 61.6 opponent points per game, good enough for 6th in the country. Hold their opponents to pretty solid shooting percentages as well. Number 22nd in the nation in opponent field goal percentage. 17-1 in a conference that is normally dominated by the Bulldogs. St. Mary's just kind of stamping their mark in the WCC. That it's kind of a 2-headed beast out here, not just one.
No, and even beyond that, right? Like, you look at San Francisco. That is a very solid team that we've seen make the tournament in the past couple years. Santa Clara went into the kennel and beat Gonzaga this year. They're having a very solid season as well. Oregon State and WSU have really helped raise the conference as a whole, and I think will really benefit going forward into next year as well. So this is a competitive one. The Zags or Gales have won the WCC every year since 07-08, where I believe San Diego did it. So we could be in store. I wouldn't be surprised if a team like San Francisco wins this, but I think the Gales or Zags will be the team to do so. This St. Mary's team is very good, great defensively. Mitchell Saxon is a bulldozer down there in the paint. He may not score a lot, but we saw in a game against Gonzaga, their most recent one, he was able to take over. He was able to play bully ball early, set the tone, get the Zags in some foul trouble down low, and take care of business. I think this is a Gales team that can go on a Sweet 16 run. They're very quality, solid resume, 27-4 as a whole, only one loss in conference play, and it was to San Francisco, I believe. So very solid team. On to the other teams. San Francisco, like we said, very solid. They got swept by the Zags, but 1-1 against the Gales.
Yeah.
For my Zags, I've seen, I would say, 90% of Zags games since I was born. Like, every game. Tune into them all the time. I can comfortably say, with all of my being, this has been the least enjoyable season of Gonzaga basketball in my entire life. It's been terrible. And I'll say what I said in our bracket to Ryan Nemhard, you get a pass. None of this applies to you. Historic season for the Zags in assists.
Unbelievable.
He's one of the greatest college passers ever. He's some of his passes, he even says it. He's like, there are times where I throw it and I'm like, I don't know how I did that. And that's not even like glazing himself. That's like how some of these passes are unbelievable that he's making. It's crazy. I believe he leads the country in assists. He's that good. Nolan Hickman, the other guard. I think him having to learn point guard a couple seasons ago while he really struggled, I think it was for the better. He's played some great basketball. He's hit the 3 ball consistently. That's where the compliments run out. I expected Caliph Battle to be this top scorer, and he has been very inconsistent. When he's on, he is on and unguardable. I mean that. He's that good. Ben Gregg, brawler down low. He hustles his ass off. When he shoots a 3, I cover my eyes. To Graham Ike. Oh, the talent is obvious. It's obvious. When Graham Ike is on, he is unstoppable. He looks like one of the best big men in the country, period. But his biggest adversary is himself. Him waving, here's a sequence that happened against Santa Clara a couple days ago. He commits a stupid foul, and in Ike fashion, storms up the court and is yelling, freaking out. He's going to get teed up because he is notorious for doing so. Mark Few, being the head coach that he is, says, come here, time to sit down, and he waves him off. Tries to. And then Few says, no, you're out. I want my players to play with fire. I want my players to play with passion. It hits a point where it is a liability to everyone else on the court. Nemhard shouldn't have to be a big brother to you in the middle of free throws and pat you on the chest and say you're good every single game. It's unacceptable,
bro. It's embarrassing.
It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. Yeah.
Just real quick. I kind of wanted to hear, because I was waiting for about Dusty. I wanted to hear about Dusty Stromer real quick, because I think that's where you're going.
I'll say about Dusty is I feel bad. The Zags team is missing Steele Venters, who is an Eastern transfer who hasn't played the last 2 years because he's gotten hurt, and that sucks. Like, I haven't talked with him, but I was in the class with him. He seems like a cool dude. For Dusty, he's been totally cut out of the rotation with Innocenti really taking over. It's been tough for Dusty. The opportunities aren't there, and when he's out there, you can see it sort of regressing where you would think this season around he'd be getting a bigger role. It's minimized. Yeah. And that's my Zags rant. For anyone looking for a Zags deep dive, there it is. The analysis. But go ahead with what you were going to say.
I was making this face since we were talking about St. Mary's. I know they're our winner, and we're kind of spending a lot of time on this team, but How is Gonzaga 8th in the net, man? I love statistics, advanced analytics. They're great. They're awesome. We have to account for who the fuck they're playing. I don't care if they're blowing teams out by 40. It's Loyola Marymount in Pacific. I'm sorry.
You're 100% right. And that sets us up perfectly when we say these teams' net rankings, when we say some of those things, that doesn't if it were a winner of net rankings, we could hand Auburn the title now. There's no point in playing the games. But it's not. And like you said, it's easy to inflate. I'm a Zags defender because normally they work their ass off in the non-conference to schedule these insanely difficult games on the road at neutral sites. Hey, Kentucky, come to Gonzaga. They work their ass off. So I've been a defender of that. And Oregon State and WSU have helped, but they haven't won the non-con games. You know who has? St. Mary's.
Yep.
And you know who's taking better care in conference? So there's my St. Mary's pick. I think they're totally deserving to bring it back to them. They are a very good team. I'm picking them as an anti-Zags pick. I am picking them because they are the better basketball team on both sides of the floor on any court. They're the better team, and it's proven in sweeping the Zags this year. So longer bit for the WC because I've had a lot stirring in me as I've said, but
a lot on your mind, man.
Thankfully, a lot on my mind. I could use therapy. I could use. Luckily, we're not ending with them. We're ending on a happier note. Mo, I've done a ton of talking. The final conference pick. Who is your winner?
This one is exciting because, I feel like the last few years at least, you could just pencil Grand Canyon in as the winner of his conference and not even give anyone else credit. As funny as this sounds, I'm picking Grand Canyon this year, but no disrespect to Utah Valley, a team that we've seen in our bracketology videos over and over coming out of the WAC. I personally am picking the basketball program, the stats for GCU. I'm more of a fan of both sides of the ball. They're kind of on the plus side. 77 points per game, good enough for 75th in the country. 68.7 points for their opponent, good enough for 68th. They're just kind of coasting in these stats, but it's the plus side again, which is what I am comfortable with. The reason why I am picking GCU out of the WAC, but it is between them and Utah Valley for sure.
I totally agree with you. I'm Utah Valley right there in the mix. GCU has still been very good this year. Grant Foster was a guy who could have tested NBA waters after a great March Madness and great season. Is still hooping on the team, 4.5 points, 6.1 rebounds, 2 dimes per game. They've struggled to shoot the three, 273rd in the country in that department, but a very quality team. Less great perimeter. Got Grand Canyon to win as our final pick, but I think it's between them and Utah Valley. That would be my title pick between the two teams.
100%, man. And wow.
What a video. What a lengthy video. Longer. There are all of our conference picks. We can't wait to believe is here. I'm excited to see all of these conferences pan out. But before we go, song of the pod. What do you got?
My song of the pod for you beautiful people is going to be a little throwback because this tournament at time doesn't make sense. I got Make No Sense by Gunna. Drip Season 2, a little OG, a little throwback, gonna. But this tournament doesn't make any sense. We'll see what happens.
No. Madness by future for the honor pick. And that's the video for us. Please leave a like, subscribe, let us know about your team and conference in the description below. And we'll see you for more March Madness content soon.
Love y'all.
Peace, everybody.
Peace.